Yo, what up, nerds? Happy weekend. Happy St. Patty's Day, I guess. I don't know why I'm immediately dating this by doing that. But anyway, hope you're having a great weekend. And since it is the weekend, of course, it's time for a brand new anime streaming showcase, the series wherein we look at series of anime that are streaming all across the World Wide Web, Crunchyroll, Hulu, Netflix, what have you, whatever website that I happen to just find these series on that are legitimate websites. So we're going to look at a series called Basilisk. It's celebrating, I think, 10 years now, maybe give or take, and it has a sequel series also airing at this time. We're going to look into it because ninjas are cool, and a Romeo and Juliet plus ninjas hybrid kind of works. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit, and then we'll see you in a bit. Ninjas are cool. Let's just get that out of the way now, okay? Ninjas are cool. And when you take a bevy of ninjas, all with differing talents, expertise, and skills, then drop a Romeo and Juliet plot over all of it, you have Basilisk. Basilisk was one of the first big shows to come out of the late aughts, and it was a big hit for Funimation. And with the sequel series already ramping up and premiering in 2018, now felt like a good time to return to see how well it holds up over 10 years later. And most of it holds up really well, with a little bit of the series floundering and falling flat. First things first, if you are not up for a cheesy ninja take on Romeo and Juliet full of death game madness, A, why not? And B, hey, that's totally cool, no judgment. But Basilisk is a refreshing take on the Romeo and Juliet story, and although the Bard's Tale tragedy has been done to death, so have all ever storylines ever, so it's better to just take on a new spin on an old classic than expect any new ideas. Of course, Shakespeare cannot take full credit for Basilisk, as it was the mangaka Masaki Segawa who adapted Futaro Yamada's The Koga Ninja Scrolls novels, who originally took William Shakespeare's story and splashed ninja goo all over it to make each tale their own. Yamada and Segawa's tales focus on a pair of clans, the Iga and the Koga. Both clans have a violent, long-standing rivalry that's been quelled for many generations, only for that peace to finally been broken in order to determine a successor of Tokugawa Ieyasu's lineage. Each clan has tasked their 10 strongest ninjas to take up arms and create a death game to appease the shogun. In the middle of this war is the love story of Genosuke from Koga and Oboro from Iga, and their tumultuous journey to reunite the clans once again. It's a bloody, vicious, betrayal-laden tale that's heavy on creativity, light on downtime, and full of terrific energy and over-the-top action. Most often with stories like these, there are no sides to really take in the good versus bad camp. Neither clan is better or worse than the other, not maliciously or chaotically evil anyway. They are both simply tasked with doing what's demanded of their shogun, and the warriors understand and follow these rules. Genosuke and Oboro are the two standouts of the series, as their story is the overlying one, in addition to the death game that's being played in the 10 members of the clan that determine the next shogun. You know, typical politics and such. The style of Basilisk lies mainly in its creativity and not so nuanced ability to distinctly deliver character. A rarely seen attribute to explain the almost grotesque designs lies in the fact that because these two clans have been separate for so long, inbreeding and selective breeding have become the norm. So while you have outlandish and outrageous characters, it comes at a price, mutations, disabilities, etc. Each and every ninja taking part in the mini-war has their own talents, abilities, and charm to enhance their standing and their clan. Some are more joyful, others are more sinister, but they're all different enough from the last to help find a favorite, or at the very least, someone to root for temporarily. I say temporarily because this is a death game, and as I've repeatedly said, and Basilisk takes no pride nor has zero qualms in simply killing a character off immediately without warning. That doesn't mean we don't necessarily get the death flags and the warnings anime and manga are rife with, but some characters do die so quickly, so choose your combatant carefully. So while essentially everyone is expected to turn up dead by the end, it's like they say, it's more about the journey, a bloody, gory journey, than the actual destination. Studio Gonzo were tasked with the animation, and although they were still relatively a younger TV studio at the time, fresh off their terrific Gankutsuo anime, Basilisk brings the manga to the small screen with a great style. As I've actually read some reviews of Basilisk from others that decry the almost pretty designs of the characters, stating it's too clean and it's not gritty enough for its setting and its premise. Some characters are certainly partial to the term ugly throughout Basilisk, but I think the style fits very well, creating lasting designs and memorable battles. Characters whip across the screen but stay in frame so as never to lose the impact and might of the action. Swords, knives, kunais, and various other weapons clash in beautiful choreography that will ultimately lead to death for the combatants. That tension of who will live, who will die, creates a fun atmosphere while devouring Basilisk. Similar to how modern shows like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones can keep viewers engaged because of the preciousness of life potentially being taken away so quickly. I'm not saying Basilisk is comparable wholly to either of those shows, so calm down, nerds, it's just a quick aside. Additionally, if you are preparing to watch Basilisk, I might offer watching the subbed version over the dubbed version this time. I know I'm usually a dub guy more often than not when it comes to rewatching older shows, but for Basilisk, due to the honorifics and delivery of lines, the Japanese dubbing feels more authentic. The Funimation team do a great job of trying to deliver the authentic experience of adding the honorifics to these characters, but it's like going to Panda Express for authentic Chinese food. Yeah, the white team taking your order is definitely making it feel more authentic. If you could stomach it, then by all means go for it, though, as it's still a great dubbing job. And just be forewarned. Basilisk does not like holding your hand in the sense of this character may or may not survive. It is a brutal show. It's full of violence, it's very gory, and it has no qualms killing off a character in an instant. It does have its flaws. It's not exactly the most expertly animated show that's around, and the dubbing is a little bit on the cringy side at times, not in so much delivery as so much as it just doesn't feel right hearing American or English voices dubbing a honorific of adding sama and san and all these honorifics that Japanese literature and Japanese folklore and just Japanese shows in general do. It's a little off-putting, but I think it was Funimation was early in their going and they were trying to make it seem feel very realistic, and it comes off as bad, honestly, more than anything. So you can't go wrong with Basilisk. It's a fine show. I have not checked out the sequel series yet, so I cannot comment on that, but I know Funimation have picked that up and they are dubbing that and subbing it and getting that out. I think it's on a weekly 3-week behind the Japanese airing course, so typical fare for them nowadays. But if you could find Basilisk, it's pretty widely available. I would say check it out. I think it's a worthwhile show if you just sort of want a mindless show in the sense that there's not much at stake in terms of general quality. I know that might sound kind of bad, but Basilisk has its point, it makes it, and it doesn't overstay its welcome, it doesn't understay its welcome. So take that as you will. Basilisk is a fine show.